Did you know that pulling just one fuse can wipe your car's memory completely clean? Like hitting the reset button on a laptop. On certain Dodge and Chrysler models, fuse number 2 is the secret key, but only if you know the model year differences. In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to do a 15-second reset that erases adaptive memory, clears out long-term fuel trims, and lets your car relearn from scratch. The crazy part? Most drivers have no clue this fuse even exists, yet it can instantly change how your car feels on the road. Before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Most people think the only way to reset a car's computer is by disconnecting the battery and waiting. But there's a faster, hidden way sitting quietly in the fuse box. On Dodge and Chrysler models, engineers included a specific fuse tied directly to the powertrain control systems. Instead of killing all power to the entire vehicle, this fuse targets the modules that hold adaptive memory for how the car runs and shifts. It's not something you find in every car, which is why so many owners overlook it. The trick is that it gives you the same fresh start without messing with your radio presets or clock. Now, here's the challenge. It's not always the same fuse across model years. That's where people get confused. If you pull the wrong one, absolutely nothing happens. You sit there, thinking you've done it right, start the car back up, and everything feels exactly the same. This is why some drivers swear the hack is fake, because they've tried it the wrong way. The manufacturer actually changed which fuse controls the adaptive systems at different points in production, which means you can't just copy what someone on a forum did unless you're driving the exact same year. I once heard about a Challenger owner who was convinced his 15-second reset didn't work. He kept pulling what he thought was the correct fuse, but saw no change in how the car behaved. After digging deeper, he discovered that his 2009 model actually used a completely different fuse slot than his friend's 2006. As soon as he pulled the right one, the reset happened instantly, and the difference was noticeable the moment he drove off. That shows how easy it is to miss this detail and waste time experimenting. Here's what you need to know. Cars from 2005 and 2006 use fuse number 11 for the powertrain memory reset. But when you get into the 2008 and 2009 range, the exact same function moved over to fuse number 2. That single difference between model years causes endless frustration for owners who assume the diagrams haven't changed. Imagine pulling fuses over and over, expecting results, only to learn later you had the wrong slot the entire time. It feels like chasing a ghost problem that doesn't even exist. Pulling the right fuse doesn't just clear engine codes. It actually wipes stored patterns the computer has built up over months of driving. That means the gas pedal feels different, the shifting can feel tighter, and the engine response might catch you off guard. A 15-second pull transforms the behavior right away, but only if you choose the correct fuse. That's the first big takeaway. Knowing the exact slot for your year ensures this quick reset actually does what people say it does. Without that, you're left thinking this shortcut is just another internet myth. And that leads to the real question. Why does yanking out one tiny fuse suddenly change how a car performs at all? Imagine being able to erase everything your car has learned about you over the past few months with nothing more than a 15-second fuse pull. That's exactly what happens when you take out fuse number 2 in certain Dodge and Chrysler models. The car's computer, which has been quietly recording your driving habits and adjusting how the engine and transmission respond, suddenly loses all of that stored information as if it never existed. The result is a system that starts from zero, relying only on its factory programming until it begins learning again. At the heart of this process is something called adaptive memory. Think of it as the brain behind the car's performance. The PCM, or Powertrain Control Module, monitors how you press the gas, how often you brake hard, and even how you like to accelerate onto the highway. Over time, it uses this data to fine-tune fuel trim, throttle response, and shift points. If you tend to drive gently, it adjusts to keep things smooth and economical. If you drive more aggressively, it gradually sharpens up responses. By design, the system makes a stock car feel more customized to the way you use it. Now, most people expect instant benefits from pulling the fuse, like a sudden jump in horsepower or snappier acceleration. But there's a hidden catch. The reset doesn't just forget your habits. It forgets every piece of diagnostic data the car has stored. That means all the work the computer did to adapt is wiped clean, and every recorded trouble code or emission monitor is erased at the same time. Fuse number 2 is tied directly to the PCM's memory, so when you pull it out, it clears DTCs, OBD2 readiness monitors, and long-term fuel trims. These items all drop back to their default values with no history attached. It's a complete wipe, not a partial one. The best way to picture it is like clearing the cookies and saved passwords from your browser. On one hand, you get a fresh start and free up space. On the other hand, you lose shortcuts and stored information that was actually useful. Here's the reality. Pulling fuse number 2 isn't a performance hack. It's a data wipe. The sharper throttle or firmer shifts you feel afterward don't come from hidden power. They come from the PCM falling back to its default tuning, which often feels more aggressive at first. But that new feel also brings confusion for some drivers. A car that responds differently right after the reset can feel broken when, in fact, it's just relearning. And that raises the question, what happens in those days, right after you've given the car a clean slate? Ever notice how your car feels completely different right after you reset it? Almost like it has forgotten how to drive. That strange sensation isn't your imagination. What's happening is that the reset erases everything the computer had carefully learned about your habits, so it defaults back to its factory programming. Those baseline tables are designed to keep the car reliable and safe, but they don't reflect the way you normally handle the throttle or the brakes. Until the computer gathers new input, the driving experience can feel inconsistent or even a little awkward. Instead of giving you instant performance gains, a reset starts with blank data. The PCM runs only on pre-programmed values, so each press of the gas pedal is interpreted without any memory of how you usually drive. Drivers often expect quicker acceleration right away, but in reality, the first hours after a reset can feel clunky. Shifts may be earlier or later than you're used to, idle speed can wander slightly, and fuel economy might even dip until adaptive learning kicks back in. This gap between what people expect and what actually happens is where most of the disappointment comes from. From a technical standpoint, it doesn't adjust itself overnight. The PCM can require as many as 50 warm-up cycles before its adaptive memory is rebuilt fully. That means dozens of times starting the engine cold, letting it reach operating temperature, and shutting it down again before the system is confident enough to make precise adjustments again. During that period, the computer is collecting information gradually, comparing it to its default tables, and rewriting its internal map of how fuel, air, and transmission shifts should respond to your habits. It's very similar to using a diet tracker app after deleting all your old history. When everything is wiped, the system knows nothing about your regular meals or routines, so the first few days of results look generic and unhelpful. Only after entering new information over and over does it begin reflecting your actual lifestyle. Your car's PCM behaves in the same way. It can only optimize performance once it has gathered a fresh picture of how you drive. Resetting your car with a quick fuse pull is like rebooting its brain. It wipes away everything it has learned and sends it back to factory settings. That can feel powerful, but it isn't something to use casually. Every reset erases both good and bad data, and the system needs time to rebuild. Think of it as a tool, not a permanent fix. If your car feels off, or you want to troubleshoot, try the 15-second fuse method. But remember, if the same problems keep coming back, the reset only cleared the memory. It didn't solve the root cause.